What happens when a Hollywood icon who's been silent for years walks back onto a daytime talk show set that once questioned his credibility and finds himself face to face with a host who never walked her comments back? Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks and like and comment for more talk show coverage. Whoopi leans slightly forward in her chair, that familiar half-smile on her face as the applause rolls through the studio. "All right," she says, lifting her hand to calm the crowd. "We're back. Our next guest is someone the world knows very well. Actor, producer, musician. Johnny Depp is joining us today." The audience reaction is immediate and mixed. A wave of applause, some cheers, a few scattered gasps. Johnny walks out, slower than most guests, dressed simply, giving a small nod to the crowd. He doesn't wave much. He doesn't smile wide. He looks careful. Johnny reaches Whoopi first. They exchange a brief handshake. It's polite but stiff. He moves down the line, greeting the other hosts with quick hellos, a few smiles that don't quite reach his eyes. When he sits, he exhales softly, adjusting his jacket. Whoopi turns toward him. "Johnny, it's been a long time." Johnny nods. "Yeah, it has." Joy jumps in quickly, sensing the weight. "A very long time since you've done anything like this." Johnny glances at her, then back to Whoopi. "Yeah, I don't usually do mornings," he says lightly, earning a small chuckle from the audience. Whoopi smiles. "None of us do, really. But here we are." There's a pause. Not awkward, but loaded. The kind of silence that live TV hates, but audiences feel. Whoopi continues. "You've stayed mostly quiet over the last few years. You've been working, but you haven't talked much." Johnny nods again. "That was intentional." Sonny leans in. "Because of everything?" Johnny looks at her thoughtful. "Because of everything," he repeats. Whoopi folds her hands. "Well, we've talked about you on this show. We talk about a lot of people." Johnny lets out a small breath, almost a laugh. "I noticed." The audience murmurs. Whoopi raises an eyebrow. "All right, so let's address it. Why now? Why come back here?" Johnny shifts in his seat. "Because this show reaches people. And because a lot was said here that stuck." The room tightens. You can feel it. Whoopi tilts her head slightly. "Stuck how?" Johnny looks directly at her now. "It shaped opinions. And opinions become truths when they're repeated enough." Joy interjects. "But Johnny, we were reacting to information at the time." Johnny turns toward her. "I understand that. But reaction isn't neutral when you have a platform like this." The audience reacts with a low ooh. Whoopi lifts a hand. "Hold on. We're not a court. We're a talk show." Johnny nods. "I know. That's why I'm here. Courts decide facts. Talk shows decide narratives." That lands. Whoopi's smile fades just a bit. "So you're saying we were unfair?" Johnny pauses. Long enough that the camera would definitely be on him. "I'm saying some things were said as if they were settled when they weren't." Sonny speaks up. "We gave opinions. That's our job." Johnny turns to her. "Opinions are powerful, especially when someone isn't sitting across from you to respond." Whoopi leans back slightly. "Well, you're here now." Johnny meets her gaze. "Exactly." The audience applauds softly. Whoopi lets it happen, then brings it down. "So respond." Johnny takes a breath. "For a long time, I watched clips. I watched people talk about me like I was a headline, not a human. And I stayed quiet because I thought silence would be dignity." Joy nods. "A lot of people would say that's the right move." Johnny shakes his head gently. "Turns out silence just lets other people finish your sentences for you." There's a beat. Whoopi crosses her arms loosely. I said that I believed women should be heard." Johnny responds calmly. "And I agree with that. Completely." Whoopi looks surprised. "But," Johnny continues, "believing someone should be heard doesn't mean someone else should be erased." The audience reacts louder this time. Applause breaks out, mixed with a few shouts. Whoopi raises her voice slightly. "Hold on. I never said you should be erased." Johnny nods. "No, but when you say someone is done, when you say Hollywood should move on, that sticks." Joy frowns. "People were emotional." Johnny smiles faintly. "So was I. Just not on TV." Whoopi leans forward now. "Johnny, I've been in this business a long time. I've seen powerful men get away with things." Johnny doesn't flinch. "And I've seen people get labeled before facts had a chance to breathe." The tension is unmistakable. Sonny jumps in. "But the public reaction wasn't created by us alone." Johnny responds, "No. But shows like this amplify it." Whoopi looks directly into the camera for a moment, then back to Johnny. So what do you want from us? An apology. Johnny shakes his head. No. I want accountability to be a two-way street. The audience goes quiet. Whoopi asks, explain that. Johnny sits up straighter. If actors are expected to answer for accusations, media should answer for conclusions. Joy interrupts. We don't decide guilt. Johnny replies instantly, but tone does. That hits hard. Whoopi presses her lips together. You're saying our tone crossed a line. Johnny nods once. Yes. There's a long pause. You can feel producers sweating. Whoopi finally speaks. I won't apologize for standing with people who say they were hurt. Johnny answers softly. And I won't apologize for standing up for myself. The audience erupts, applause, cheers, some stunned silence. Whoopi holds up both hands. All right. We're going to take a breath. She looks at Johnny. When we come back, we'll keep talking. Because clearly there's more to say. Johnny gives a small nod. There always was. The camera pulls back slightly as the tension lingers, the audience buzzing. Everyone aware that this conversation is far from over. The applause tapers off as the camera settles back in, the audience quieter now, listening instead of reacting. Whoopi adjusts in her chair, her voice lower than before, less performative, more direct. Johnny, I want to stay with something you said, she begins. You said accountability should be public. Johnny nods. Yes. Whoopi looks him in the eye. So let me ask you this, because people at home are asking it already. Do you think we owe you something? The question lands heavy. Johnny doesn't rush. He folds his hands together, thumbs rubbing once, a small tell of nerves. I think, he says slowly, you owe the audience honesty about uncertainty. Joy leans forward. We are honest. Johnny turns to her. Then say we don't know more often. A ripple moves through the audience. Not applause yet, just recognition. Sunny speaks up. But when allegations come forward, waiting can feel like complicity. Johnny nods. I understand that fear. Truly. But speed isn't the same as justice. Whoopi exhales through her nose. You're asking the media to slow down in a fast world. Johnny gives a small smile. I'm asking humans to stay human. That earns applause. Whoopi lets it go a beat longer than usual, then gently brings it down. You know, she says, people don't usually come on this show and challenge how we do our jobs. Johnny replies calmly, people usually come on here to promote something. Joy raises her eyebrows. So what are you promoting? Johnny looks out at the audience briefly, then back. Perspective. A few audience members clap again, louder this time. Whoopi tilts her head. You're very composed. Johnny chuckles softly. That took practice. Sunny asks, were you angry before? Johnny nods once. Very. Whoopi presses. At us. Johnny doesn't dodge it. Yes. The room goes quiet again. Whoopi's voice is steady. Say more. Johnny inhales. Because anger needs a direction. And when I couldn't speak here, it went inward. Joy softens. That's not something people see. Johnny looks at her. They're not meant to. Sunny says, but Johnny, some people will hear this and say, he's rewriting history. Johnny responds immediately, I'm adding footnotes. The audience reacts with laughter and applause. Even Whoopi smiles briefly. That's a good line. Johnny shrugs. It's the truth. Whoopi leans back. Let me be transparent. We don't get everything right. Johnny nods. No one does. Joy adds. But we also don't wake up trying to hurt people. Johnny turns to her. I believe you. That moment shifts something. The tension eases just a fraction. Sunny asks quietly, did you ever think about confronting us before today? Johnny nods. Many times. Whoopi asks, why didn't you? Johnny looks at her. Because I wasn't sure I'd be allowed to finish a sentence. There's a sharp intake from the audience. Joy opens her mouth, then closes it again. Whoopi says firmly, you're finishing them now. Johnny meets her gaze. I appreciate that. Joy clears her throat. Do you think this conversation would have gone differently 2 years ago? Johnny thinks. I think I would have sounded angrier. Sunny asks, and now? Johnny replies, now I sound tired. The audience murmurs sympathetically. Whoopi nods slowly. That I recognize. She looks at him. Do you trust the media again? Johnny answers honestly. I trust individuals, not systems. Joy says, that's fair. Sunny presses. Do you think shows like this learned anything? Johnny looks around the table. I think learning happens when defensiveness stops. Whoopi raises her eyebrows slightly. You saying we're defensive? Johnny smiles gently. I'm saying it's natural. The audience laughs softly. Whoopi nods. Okay. She pauses, then asks, what would you say to someone watching who made up their mind about you years ago? Johnny turns toward the camera. His voice stays calm, grounded. I'd say you don't owe me belief. Just patience. The audience applauds, some standing briefly before sitting back down. Joy looks at him. That's a big ask. Johnny responds, so was silence. Another beat. Whoopi taps her cards against the table once, then sets them down untouched. We're going to keep talking, she says. Because this isn't just about you. It's about how all of this works. Johnny nods. That's why I came. The audience applauds again as the camera lingers, not on spectacle this time, but on faces thinking. Hosts included. Knowing the conversation has shifted from confrontation to reflection, and that what comes next might be the hardest part yet. The audience settles again, that low hum of anticipation filling the studio. Whoopi takes a breath, longer than usual, like she's choosing her next words carefully instead of reaching for instinct. She says, we spend a lot of time talking about culture wars, movements, headlines. We don't always talk about what happens after the cameras move on. Johnny nods. That's the part people live with. Joy leans in. What was the after like for you? Johnny shifts slightly. Quiet. Not the peaceful kind at first. The kind where your phone stops ringing. A murmur moves through the audience. Sonny asks, friends disappeared? Johnny smiles without humor. Industry friends. Some real ones stayed. Whoopi responds softly. That's a lesson a lot of people learn the hard way. Johnny meets her eyes. I didn't expect it to be public. Joy frowns. Do you think Hollywood abandoned you? Johnny pauses. I think Hollywood panics easily. The audience laughs lightly, relieved by the honesty. Sonny follows up. But people here will say consequences matter. Johnny nods. They do. But consequences should follow truth, not momentum. Whoopi taps the table once. Momentum is a powerful thing. Johnny agrees. It doesn't like breaks. Joy crosses her arms, thinking. There's something I want to ask, and I want to be careful. Johnny gestures. Go ahead. Joy says, do you think you were protected for too long before everything fell apart? The question sharpens the air. A few audience members gasp quietly. Johnny doesn't react defensively. Yes. That surprises everyone. Whoopi leans forward. Say that again. Johnny repeats calmly. Yes. I was. Sonny looks at him closely. Then isn't this a correction? Johnny shakes his head. A correction doesn't overshoot the target. The audience reacts loudly now, applause mixing with murmurs. Whoopi raises her hand. Hold on. She looks at Johnny. So you're acknowledging privilege? Johnny nods. Absolutely. Joy presses. But you're saying the backlash went too far. Johnny answers. I'm saying accountability became entertainment. That lands hard. Whoopi exhales slowly. That's uncomfortable. Johnny responds gently. It should be. Sonny asks, do you think the public enjoyed tearing you down? Johnny looks out at the audience again, then back. I think pain is contagious. Joy says, that sounds like you're blaming people who spoke up. Johnny turns to her. No, I'm blaming a system that feeds on extremes. Whoopi nods thoughtfully. We do live in extremes. Johnny adds, nuance doesn't trend. The audience applauds again, louder, more sustained. Whoopi lets it go, then says, I want to ask you something personal. Johnny nods. Did you ever think your career was truly over? Johnny doesn't hesitate this time. Yes. A hush falls over the room. Sonny asks quietly, how did that feel? Johnny swallows. Like grief. You mourn something that's still alive. Joy looks at him. That's heavy. Johnny nods. It was. Whoopi's voice softens. Did you resent the audience? Johnny shakes his head. No. I resented the silence between headlines. Joy tilts her head. What does that mean? Johnny explains. No one talks about what happens when the noise stops. When you're alone with it. The audience grows still, listening. Sonny says, a lot of people watching won't sympathize. Johnny nods. I don't need sympathy. I need context. Whoopi repeats, context. Johnny nods again. Yes. Joy asks, do you think this conversation would even be possible if things had gone differently in court? Johnny looks at her. Honestly? No. Sonny presses, so validation matters. Johnny replies, truth matters. Validation follows. Whoopi interjects. Some would say truth is subjective. Johnny turns to her. Facts aren't. The audience reacts sharply to that. Applause breaks out, some standing briefly again. Whoopi smiles slightly. You're not wrong. Joy says, but public opinion isn't built on facts alone. Johnny agrees. That's why it's fragile. Sunny asks, do you worry this could all swing again? Johnny shrugs. Worry doesn't change cycles. Whoopi studies him. You sound detached. Johnny answers honestly. I learned to be. Joy frowns. That doesn't sound healthy. Johnny smiles faintly. It's survival. The audience murmurs in agreement. Whoopi leans in. Let me ask you this. If someone came on this show tomorrow accused of something serious, what would you want us to do differently? Johnny thinks carefully. Leave space. Sunny asks, space for what? Johnny answers, for the possibility that the story isn't finished. Joy sighs. That's hard in real time. Johnny nods. I know. Whoopi looks at her co-hosts. He's not wrong. Joy shrugs. I don't love hearing it, but he's not wrong. The audience laughs lightly. Sunny asks, do you think you'll ever trust a platform like this again? Johnny looks around the set. Trust grows with moments like this. Whoopi raises an eyebrow. So we're earning it? Johnny smiles slightly. You're trying. That earns laughter and applause. Whoopi chuckles. I'll take that. She then grows serious again. But you understand why some people will still disagree with you. Johnny nods. They're allowed to. Joy asks, does that still hurt? Johnny considers it. Not the way it used to. Sunny asks, what changed? Johnny answers, I stopped needing to be liked. The audience reacts strongly, applause rippling through the room. Whoopi nods slowly. That's freedom. Johnny responds, it's expensive. The audience laughs softly at that. Whoopi glances toward the camera, then back to Johnny. When we come back, we're going to talk about what happened after you left this building today, because I have a feeling this conversation isn't ending when the lights go down. Johnny nods. They rarely do. The audience applauds as the tension shifts again, no longer sharp but charged with consequence. Everyone aware that the next phase won't just be about words said on set, but the reaction waiting outside these walls. The audience applause fades into something more restless this time. People shifting in their seats. Phones already out despite the signs asking them not to record. Whoopi looks out at the crowd, then back at Johnny, her expression serious in a way that feels less like television and more like responsibility. So, she says, let's talk about what happens after moments like this. Johnny nods. That's usually the loudest part. Joy lets out a small laugh. Twitter. Johnny smiles slightly. Among other places. Sunny adds, people are already reacting. We can see it during the breaks. Whoopi raises her eyebrows. That fast, huh? Sunny nods. Clips are going up as we speak. The audience murmurs, some laughing nervously, others clearly aware they're witnessing something that will be dissected frame by frame. Whoopi turns back to Johnny. Does that make you anxious? Johnny thinks for a moment. It used to. Joy asks, and now? Johnny shrugs lightly. Now it feels familiar. Whoopi presses. But this time you were here. You spoke. Johnny nods. That's the difference. Sunny says, people online won't all hear nuance. Johnny responds calmly. They never do. They hear fragments. Whoopi nods slowly. We're part of that ecosystem, whether we like it or not. Joy adds, sometimes we feed it. Johnny looks at her. Sometimes it feeds itself. The audience reacts with a mix of laughter and applause. Whoopi leans forward. Do you regret coming today? Johnny answers without hesitation. No. Joy asks, even knowing what's coming? Johnny nods. Especially knowing. Sunny looks curious. Why? Johnny explains, because silence stopped protecting me a long time ago. The audience grows quiet again. Whoopi's voice softens. You know, when this show ends today, we'll go to our dressing rooms. You'll leave. Life goes on. Johnny nods. For you. For me, it echoes. Joy winces slightly. That's not fair. Johnny smiles gently. Fair isn't the right word. It's just real. Sunny asks, what do you think the headline will be? Johnny chuckles softly. Depends on the outlet. Whoopi smirks. Give us your guess. Johnny thinks. Something about a clash. Or a showdown. The audience laughs knowingly. Joy adds, they love conflict. Johnny replies, conflict sells. Conversation doesn't. Whoopi nods. But conversation lasts longer. Johnny meets her gaze. That's why this mattered. There's a pause where no one rushes to fill the space. The audience sits with it. Sunny says, Some viewers will say you were too calm. Johnny smiles. I've been loud before. It didn't help. Joy says. Others will say we were too soft. Whoopi sighs. That comes with growth. Johnny nods. Or with listening. The audience applauds, slower now, more thoughtful. Whoopi glances toward the camera. I want to say something clearly, because people will clip everything except this. She turns back to Johnny. You came here to talk, not to attack. Johnny nods. That was the intention. Joy adds, and we pushed back. Johnny smiles. You should. Sunny says, but we also heard you. Whoopi looks at her co-hosts, then back at Johnny. That part matters. Johnny's voice lowers slightly. It does. Whoopi leans back. After this, you'll go back to your life. Work. Music. Whatever you choose. Johnny nods. Yes. Joy asks, does it feel like closure? Johnny shakes his head. No. It feels like punctuation. The audience reacts with a low murmur of appreciation. Sunny asks, a comma or a period? Johnny smiles. A comma. Whoopi laughs softly. Figures. The audience laughs with her, easing the tension one last time. Whoopi grows serious again. You know people will argue about this for days. Johnny nods. They already are. Joy says, some will defend you. Some will criticize us. Some will do both. Johnny responds, that's conversation. Sunny adds, and some will never change their minds. Johnny shrugs. They don't have to. Whoopi looks at him closely. What would you want people watching to take away from this? Johnny turns toward the audience and then the camera. His voice is steady, grounded. That listening doesn't mean agreeing. And disagreement doesn't require destruction. The audience applauds, some standing again, not out of excitement but respect. Whoopi lets it go, then raises her hand. All right, she turns back to Johnny. Thank you for coming, for sitting in discomfort, for saying things that aren't easy. Johnny nods. Thank you for letting me finish sentences. Joy smiles slightly. You finished plenty. Sunny adds, and you made us think. Whoopi looks to the camera as the applause continues. This is one of those conversations that doesn't end when the show does. She gestures toward the audience. You'll see the clips. You'll see the takes. You'll see people arguing about tone, about responsibility, about who was right. Johnny nods. That's the aftermath. Whoopi continues. And tomorrow, the internet will decide what this moment meant. Johnny adds quietly. Or try to. Whoopi smiles at that. Either way, we had it. She faces the camera fully now. Now we want to hear from you. The audience quiets. What did you think of this conversation? Whoopi asks. Did Johnny say something that resonated with you? Did we push back enough? Or not enough? Johnny looks toward the camera as well. Whoopi finishes. Share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories. The applause swells one final time as the camera pulls back, not rushing away from the table, letting the moment breathe. Hosts thoughtful, audience buzzing, and Johnny sitting still, composed, fully aware that the real conversation has only just begun outside the studio walls.